Are you trying to be like a superhero with those glasses?
I am a superhero.
You're a superhero?
I'm fucking Captain Sable. What are you talking about?
Captain Sable.
That's right.
He's put
I
several.
save all the hoes.
He's put several young ladies through college.
That's right.
That's a known fact. Yeah. Oh shit. So what's up, everybody? Once again, you're under the Street Lamp podcast with Vanilla fellas. We're Sonny and D.B Cooper here in the house, and we're gonna talk a little bit about. I want to get these fellas' take on Brittney Griner, I think it's pronounced. She's a WNBA star, and I guess she was competing in Russia at some point. They busted her with some cannabis oil cartridges, like for the vape, and they just broke her off with 9 years in Russian prison. What you think about it, Sonny boy?
I hope she feels that was worth it. All countries are not as lenient about things as the United States, especially when it comes to marijuana. I feel for the ladies, and I needed a long time for making a mistake. She should have checked the laws over there, because, like I said, the United States is different from any other country. I think maybe it has a little bit to do with politics, and she's caught up in the middle of it. It's a shame that if she has to do it's a shame she's done the time that she has, because the cartridges are here in the United States, or mostly United States. So for her to be doing time for something that it's just basic political, because that's all it is. They don't agree with it, and we're doing it. So for her to do 9 years,
Yeah,
it's extreme.
It is just one thing. There was another guy. I think he was smuggling. I think he was a teacher or something. But he was smuggling in Russia weed as well. But he had amounts. You know, it wasn't like her. She just has a little vape cartridge, and he got 14 years.
Okay, so let me ask you, what does she fall under the law that a regular Russian citizen will fall under?
I think so.
Are they giving her more time just because she's American, or is that just their law? Period. You don't have this.
I think that it is just their law, and I'm only basing that solely on the thing that there was another American who was arrested in Russia, and he got 14, but he was slanging it. So in a way, it kind of makes sense that if he got 14 for trafficking, she got 9 for possession. That still seems pretty kind of excessive, huh?
Yeah, it does seem excessive, but at the same time, we can't dictate some other country's laws, regardless of if it's Russia or Mexico or Australia.
Yeah.
We can't dictate on their laws. They have a society, and they have their own countries with their own laws. And if you break them, you got to be held accountable for it. Even though we might think it's excessive, they might not think it's excessive.
Fair enough. What you think about it, DB?
You know, I think
That's enough.
I follow the same. Don't you have to go already? All right, so I think it falls within the same genre as Sonny was saying. I think, you know, there's rules and regulations everywhere you go. Even here in the States, depending on where you go, there's certain things you can't do or say, right? You know, and I think that, you know, whether excessive or not, it really is, it's a non-factor, because if you go somewhere, you should be smart enough to be educated on what you could do and you can't do, right? Just so you won't get caught slipping, right?
Right.
You know, I think for me, when I was younger, I saw a movie called Broken Down Palace. And that shit fucking like opened my eyes, like, god damn, like that's a whole different fucking, it's a different country, it's a whole different fucking world. But,
that was the 2 girls, right?
Yeah.
Thailand or the
Yeah, you know, and again, you know, you might think, oh, it's obsessive and all that because it's the normal here. But again, you should know always your surroundings and where you're at and what you could do, you can do, just so you won't get into a fucking mix like that, you mean?
Yeah.
So based on that, again, you know, it's fucked up that she got the 9, you know, but again, always know your surroundings and what you could do, you can do, you mean?
But you gotta ask yourself too, was taking those cartridges that important to take a chance? What if she did know about the law? But said, oh, it's a cartridge, I'm not gonna get into trouble, or they're not gonna find it.
Yeah, I would think. I'm just assuming here, but something as big as like an international basketball tournament, you would think your coaches or handlers or whoever would tell you some basic guidelines, you know?
Don't take your marijuana.
So I think it's probably likely that she knew, like, don't take weed on an international flight.
And she took a chance.
Right, and she failed to realize that this president ain't like the last one over here fucking pardoning Kodak Black and shit and being like trying to get kudos and shit, you know what I mean? Like where if it was an old president, I know everybody hates him, it's all good, like it's fine, but he was like over here pardoning rappers and shit, getting them out of prison for political reasons for sure. He's a businessman, that's all he cares about. But with this president, he's not like that, you know what I'm saying? Where he's not gonna be all bold and hey Russia, we're gonna attack you. He ain't gonna say shit like that. This president's a little bit more lax. As much as I don't agree with Donald Trump and I know a lot of people hate him, I think that if this had happened back 4 or 5 years ago or whatever, he probably would have made a hoopla about it, used it as a political thing just to get her back.
But then Trump has a rapport with Putin.
Yeah, he does.
So he would have had a day without a threat or anything, just say, hey, homie, do me a favor, pull her
Right,
out.
she's one of our stars,
Yeah.
We'll pay a fine, something
Right.
like that. But so she misread that.
No, shit, but is that even fair, right?
No, it's not.
Right, because fuck that. If
I think it is.
if I went and I'm not a fucking NBA star, I get cracked. For goddamn well, I'm doing my 9. There's no one's gonna say, oh hey, D.B. Cooper, he's a nice guy, and let me get it out. Fuck it, you know what I mean?
But here's the thing too, though. Here's what I would do. Let's say I was Big Daddy of America right now. I would still say, even if it was D.B. Cooper who stole 100,000 and flew out of a plane and is,
That's 200,000.
200,000 flew out of a plane and is ethnically ambiguous. I would still say, even though nobody knows you and shit, I'll be like, we need to get him back because the principle is like that's a foreign country. Yes, she broke your laws and we can come to an agreement, but we will punish her over here. She embarrassed us, she'll do whatever our little thing is, but she'll do it in our prison because it's different. It's like we should discipline our own people.
I disagree, 100%.
Okay.
Because that means that you have other Americans going to other countries doing some wild ass shit, and then let us punish them, at our laws when they did it in. If you come to my house and you do shit that I don't agree with, I'm gonna call you on it right there and then, and you're gonna deal with my repercussions, not at somebody else's because they're gonna go ahead and take care of you. Fuck that. You did it in my house, you get to take care of it in my house, right? I'm not gonna go ahead and have somebody call me, hey, let me just go ahead and take care of everyone when we get in my house. No, fuck that. He did it in my terms. You got to go ahead and pay the piper.
There was a couple years ago, I think Trump was in office, where his 2 kids got caught shoplifting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
In a different country, and it became an international incident.
Sure.
And they had some kind of fame. I don't know.
They were basketball players too.
College basketball
College,
players,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had a little fame, they had a little a name, and they were saying a lot of the same things that's happening now. Hey, well, you came to our country and you broke our laws. That means you pay our piper. You don't pay theirs. And I'm not sure what I think Trump got him out of that situation. I believe so. And but again, if you break their laws, you're going to their country. They're accommodating, and just like they're expected to protect you, you also need to have be mindful of their laws and their regulations.
Yeah, I do agree with that to a certain extent, but because that's not the way it is, that's why I disagree. Meaning, that's for certain classes. Okay, like if I send my people, if I'm Big Daddy of America and I'm sending my people over to your country, and if they fuck up, aside from like a violent crime, harming somebody or some shit like that, I want them back. And the reason is, you can't. Shit, I had it, man. You can't allow that shit to be done by those people. And the reason why you should give them back is because it's classist. Meaning, we send people to countries all the fucking time, and they send people to our country all the time, and they're given diplomatic immunity.
Sure.
Meaning is just what I fucking said.
Yep.
As long as you didn't kill, rape, or rob nobody, we can't fucking touch you. All we can do is send you back to your people for them to discipline you, which is the way I think it should be. Here's where the difference is. I don't think it should be just because you're some pedestal motherfucker and your daddy's, a senator. And not. It should be for every man, woman, and child. You're in America, you should be protected. And it's like, yes, they fucked up, but they didn't rob, rape, or fucking kill anybody. You're sending them back and we'll discipline them. Or if we're not going to do that, then there's no more diplomatic immunity. If you fuck up over here, you're fucked. Period. not because you're rich and you got the connections over in Romania or in whatever fucking country.
Well,
No.
they had that guy, I forget his name. He died over here, but he was in prison in North Korea. He apparently got arrested for stealing a sign from a hotel room.
Heard about that.
And they gave him a massive amount of time.
Okay.
And that was basically, he didn't have any kind of popularity. He was a no. And even the United States went to bat for him and got him back. But, you know, he died because he was sick over there. And, you know, it was just a sad story. But that was purely political.
Yeah.
That was, you know, for them to give him a massive amount of time, that I can understand. And he wasn't popular. He had no name. He was just a regular Joe. So it isn't the fact that somebody has some popularity that they get off. They probably get off a lot easier. But just the same, the United States does go to bat for people within the regular Joes.
Yeah, and I think they should. I think it's a good thing.
And again, don't get me wrong, I think you mentioned the word diplomacy, and that's really the key there, right?
Right.
You know.
But isn't she on a go ahead?
No, go ahead.
Well, isn't she on a diplomatic mission though? We're allowing foreigners to come into our country to do an exhibition basketball game or whatever. They should be under some kind of a diplomatic protection because they're not there because I wanted to go on vacation and went willy-nilly. Just, let's just go over there and fuck around in Russia. No, you went as a diplomat in some form, right?
No, and I hear it. But I guess the point you're making is that it shouldn't be based on status. It should be across the board.
Right.
That I agree with you, right?
Okay, so what you're telling me basically is, say we have people come from China, come over here for the athletes that are popular in their country, and they bring cocaine over here, and they're using it, whatever, and they get busted with let's say an ounce of cocaine. You're saying that they shouldn't be prosecuted here?
I'm saying that
set back to China and let them deal with it?
Yes, unless we're going to stop. Because right now, a person with diplomatic immunity with 20 pounds of cocaine and heroin, they're not going to be charged.
We're not talking apples to apples, right? Because from a diplomacy standpoint, I agree with you. And based on class, you know, I agree with you on that. But what Sonny is saying, and that's kind of where I'm at, is regardless of status, if someone gets cracked in either side, breaking the law, they should actually, you know, you do the crime, you do the time.
But if you went on your own, see, like this guy, if he goes to Russia and he wants to do a cocaine business and get busted, that's on his own. He's not under any kind of
Okay, but going back to what you're saying, that they should be brought over here to be persecuted for their thing. United States might say, well, you know what, we're just going to get slapped on the hand and put probation. To that other country, you're not doing the justice. You're not. So then it becomes a political fight. It becomes where okay, now we might go to war because you didn't do what you're supposed to. So every judge in the United States is different from another. And one might give you probation, the other might sentence you to 20 years. But if you commit a crime in that country, they have no jurisdiction over here to persecute you for something over there. It's just like if I get busted in Burbank, LA Superior Court is not going to prosecute me.
Yeah, but I mean,
you have your jurisdiction.
But when you have
jurisdiction in China or whatever, or over here, and then we would be calling foul if somebody get busted with some coke over here and they don't do no time.
Well, I mean, in some ways we do that, right? Like it depends on the relations. Like if you have good relations with a country, there is that. There is like the changing of laws and people being treated a certain way. For instance, okay, here in America, if you bust a fucking crime and you bring a child with you when you bust a crime, they're gonna take the child. They're not gonna let you be with the child, but they're gonna separate a family. But if somebody comes from south of the border and they're put in the same situation where they commit a crime, it's a crime to cross the border illegally, it's a felony, and they bring a child with them, they're gonna separate them, right? But because we have pretty fucking good relations with Mexico, we can look at that and say, hey, we get that there's millions of people coming over and you're overwhelmed, but that's still a child in a cage. And we get the idea, just like they'll put them to a foster home here. We don't like it, but we get it. So here's what I'm saying is that because we have a certain relationship with Mexico, we realize, dude, kids in cages, no, it's not okay. It's not acceptable. We got to find another course of action. In that same way, but that's changing laws, right? Because if you commit a crime, they're still gonna lock your ass up. And there are some Americans who are pissed about that. They're like, hey, why did they get treated better than me? But it's because it's a technical,
see, you can't compare China to Mexico.
Well, because there's no good relations.
And the reason, yes, not just that it's no good relations, it's just a lot of times these kids in the cages weren't actually separated. In a lot of circumstances, they weren't separated. It's that their parents were sending these kids over to the United States to get asylum. You go over there and they're going to take you. Okay. So these kids come over here, crossing the border with no parents. Are these United States, I'm not saying it's right, but is the United States supposed to say, okay, we can't take you, go back? No,
they treat them
because they got nobody to send them back to.
Right.
They have no responsible adult.
Right. So they treat them. So they treat them just like they would treat a kid in Minneapolis, no parents, wandering the streets. They're also going to absorb him into the system. It's gonna.
Right.
No matter who it is, like it's like here in America, if there's a child unaccompanied, no one here to claim him, we're going to absorb him into the system. Right or wrong, I don't know, but it's what this country does.
Yeah, but I think bringing it back is, again, if you commit a crime anywhere else outside of the United States, right, you have to know that you're going to do the crime. If you did the crime, you have to do the time there, regardless of what it is. And I think it should continue staying that way.
Yeah,
it is what it is, right? You know, because again, once you start getting political, then at that point, where the fuck does it end, right? It doesn't. It's just fucking basically enigma shit that they're gonna prosecute him for 9 years. We're gonna bring him back. We're gonna give him 3 months with probation, right? That's not gonna fucking sit well with him,
right?
You know,
what they should do is they should have, if they're gonna sentence an American, like say in Russia, right? They should have a certain facility that accommodates foreigners to that country.
Like an embassy prison.
Not an embassy prison. You should have a righteous prison and make them do their time the way they're supposed to. But they shouldn't intermingle them within the Russian community, because that's where the problem is. That's when they get abused. That's when they get attacked and hurt. So almost putting them like in a PC prison where, because I'm sure Russia has multiple people come in their country breaking the law, land up in the system. Okay, all right, we're gonna lock you up, but we're gonna lock you in an environment that you're not so endangered.
Maybe I guess maybe I'm just being too emotional with it.
Yeah, you are.
I feel bad for Brittney Griner.
Right.
I really do, and I think she got thrown under the bus. I don't think it's cool, especially for this. I guess she had a lot of, I don't know. I watch a lot of conservative people on YouTube. You know, because I watch both sides. I don't just watch people who I agree with. They're like, yeah, good job, Adam. I mean, like, I listen to people that disagree. So it makes you better at being able to pick apart their fucking arguments, too. But there's a lot of conservatives that were kind of making fun of her because I haven't seen it, but they're claiming she had a lot of anti-American sentiments. She was, like, not for the national anthem. She just basically had, she didn't like America. She's like, fuck America. One of those people that are like, oh, I'd rather live somewhere else.
Sure.
So now people are making fun of her for being locked up in Russia, and I bet America looks good now. And it's like, dude,
that's just the wrong way of looking at it.
Yeah, dog, that just makes me feel bad.
Again, this falls back to her having an opinion about something. She has that right as an American citizen to have an opinion and think what she thinks of the United States.
Yeah. I agree.
And she shouldn't be punished for it.
I agree.
But people tend to want to punish you for your thoughts or repercussions for your opinion. So as long as your opinion isn't hurting anybody,
and
it's not you know, you just have an opinion. You're not out there promoting some things saying, I don't agree with this, go attack them like they did on January 6th.
Right.
That kind of opinion is different.
That's inciting a riot.
That's inciting a riot. But if you have an opinion, I ask you, hey, do you like tacos or burrito? Which one's more Mexican? And you say, oh, no.
I like enchiladas.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
it's your opinion.
I get offended by it. Like, hey, wait a minute. Dude, that wasn't the question.
And just because you like enchiladas, you're not going to say, hey, we got to march and we got to, everybody has to like them. Oh, you don't like, okay, cool.
But
it's
like
just an opinion.
Personally, Brittney Griner, She should be put in a prison. If she has to do her time, fine, but don't put her in a position where she's gonna get hurt in a Russian prison.
I guess
because there is that factor that she is an American citizen, so she needs to be treated
a target, yeah.
and with a little bit of dignity and respect, and make sure that she's safe.
See, but I think I agree with that in the basic principle, right?
Right.
But I think that we're also, baby, right? As you know, as U.S. citizens, right? Because any country you go to, you're gonna be thrown in general population. Fuck it, boom, there you go, right?
Yeah.
Even here, they throw you in basic categorization, and then based on that,
That's true too.
right?
That is true.
Yeah, so based on that, again, I don't want no one to get arrested or be incarcerated at all, But unfortunately, she made a mistake. She got 9 years, and at that point, she's just got to do her
But
time.
the thing about here versus Russian prison, United States prison versus Russian prison, right? If you, and I've been locked up with people from the Middle East, I've been locked up with people from different countries, Greece. There was one dude that was from China. There multiple people from different countries have been busted because they broke the laws over here, and they're doing their time over here. But then they were attacked because of their race or the country. It wasn't a fact over here. Versus Russia, it is a factor. It is a factor that you got an American in a Russian prison, and people attack those people. That's the only reason there should be a difference between where they do their time. They should be. I'm not saying just make an American prison. No, I'm saying anybody that's not from that country should be put in that prison. Like somebody from Afghanistan, Russia, China, whatever, needs to go into that prison. And I'm sure they got a decent amount of inmates. So that they are safe. They have a level playing field.
Here's why I guess I disagree. I think because it goes down to like a root level for me, which is, I don't know if you ever heard of that shit. It's called corpus delicti or corpus delicti, where it's like no body, no crime, right? So I don't think anybody, I know people are gonna hate this shit, but for victimless crimes, people say there's no victimless crimes. I think there is. Like if somebody's selling coke to a grown fucking adult who's choosing to buy coke, just like weed or any other thing, that's between two consenting adults. He's not saying, hey, you have to buy this or I'll kill you. That part is bad. Like, when people want to have monopoly, that's bad. But a consenting adult, just like prostitution, if a person wants to, have sex with somebody else and they're just for money, that's their choice if they want to do it. So I don't believe in persecuting people for victimless crimes. I feel like if you don't like that shit, you could raise your children, you could raise your family, you could have a good speaking ability, and convince other people that it's better to not be a prostitute, it's better to not do heroin.
Okay, but there's a difference between that.
Well, that's what
if somebody wants to sell coke, okay, I'm selling you coke to consenting adults. The person buying the coke or using the coke, therefore, starts robbing people and doing things.
Well, now that's a crime.
Money, then that is leading up to something.
But that person is making that choice.
But I wouldn't even go that far. Let's even bring it back a little bit more, right? It doesn't matter whether it's moral or it's consenting. It doesn't matter. It's illegal. Whether you agree with it or not, it's already part of the law that it's illegal.
But I disagree.
So based on that,
but I disagree because within the Constitution, we're allowed certain things. Like we have bodily autonomy. We have the right to property. We have certain rights that we can do with what we want with our property, including this. We own this. This is why people don't know. You're not supposed to be taxed on labors and wages. Because basically they're telling you, you're prostituting your body. You're letting someone rent your body for $10, $15, $20 an hour, whatever it is. So it used to be, you can't tax that. Because this guy, not a landowner, he's selling his body for money. So you can't tax him. So this is what it really was supposed to be, dog. And all this other shit where people are going to jail for doing gay, prostitution, like all these moral fucking wrongs, that should be against the law because you're not hurting anybody. I don't agree with that shit.
The stuff that they do leads up to people.
But see, those are those people's choices. Like for instance, okay, back when they amended the Constitution, when they actually did it right, they amended the Constitution. They said no more alcohol, right? Alcohol was against the law. There was no violence before. People just drank beer, sometimes fist fights were, but there was no mafia violence over the shit. Al Capone was invented because of prohibition. So the moment they said beer, alcohol is illegal, people start making it in their bathtub. And there was a black market. Now, Tommy guns everywhere, right? Because this shit would cost $30. So now I'm killing and going for it. So what I'm saying is that the moment we stop convicting people for these fucking victimless crimes, the price of cocaine is going to be like a beer. How many people do you know that are going to stick somebody out, motherfucker, for a 6-pack? You could ask somebody for $6 and buy a 6-pack.
Yeah, but you're failing to understand that. Somewhere along the line, cocaine was not illegal.
Right.
Somewhere along the line, there was other things, prostitution was not illegal. It's what became from what started at that point and branched out to others, is what made it illegal.
But the numbers say it.
You're just saying that because you want to go get some.
If you want some cocaine and
cocaine,
I got you. Don't worry about
I'll tell you, the numbers dictate though that when you used to, like in the 1800s, right, early 1800s, when there's still cowboys around, when you used to be able to buy cocaine and heroin at a bar, who's using it? Losers were on opium. Losers were taking opioids. Losers were on laudanum. You don't want to fucking do
Can
that.
you imagine if you legalized cocaine?
Bro, there would be no more violence.
Yeah, there would be more violence. To top it off, we'd be picking up bodies everywhere. To top it off, the ramifications of their house later on, that society has to pay for these.
But then why is it that
these
the numbers,
individuals that abuse their body because they had a right? It was their temple. All of a sudden, it's everybody's problem because this person decided to abuse their temple, and we all have to pay for it with his medical.
Perfect example, right? And it brings down to both of your points. Back in the 80s, 90s, right?
We had enough out of here.
Right, 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah.
We had the crack epidemic, right? Because coke was expensive, it was for the rich folks, right? But then we have rock, and it was for the your crackhead asses, right?
It's cheeseburger versus steak,
right? So to your point, yeah, it got cheaper, and look at all the shit that came from that pandemic, right? It was fucking people killing each other, robbing each other
because it was illegal.
No, fuck no. It was accessible to everybody.
No,
right?
But it wasn't lawful. Here's the thing, dog. If I'm wrong, then how is it that there's no Al Capone, right?
There always will be an
hold on, let me finish. Well, yeah, there is, as long as you make shit illegal and don't leave people to their own devices. Okay, so here's the thing. There's no Al Capone, then they say alcohol is illegal. Now there is Al Capone, everybody's fucking dying, terrorism, blowing up fucking bars, all this shit, right? The moment they said, oh, beer's legal again, Al Capone disappears, the bars getting blown up stops.
Alcohol does not disappear, it takes a different form.
Yeah, now
who owns these things?
Right, it's corporation, it's business.
It's the same shit.
No, but it's allowed to function. It's allowed to function, dog.
So let's agree to disagree.
Well, hold on. Then why is it that in places like France, where people are drinking vino from a young age, 10-year-olds and shit, with wine, they have a little bit of wine, right? They're not all fucking crashing into each other drunk over in France. But here, where you can't drink till you're 21, everybody's fucking lit, crashing into each other.
Okay, so how do you explain these people? They're not getting busted with drugs, but they're committing crimes for those drugs. Right now with the tweak and glass and speed epidemic that we're going through right now. Okay, these tweakers are not getting busted a lot of times for buying dope. It's very rare that somebody gets busted for selling dope nowadays. It's more, hey, I caught you with something. So these people that are tweakers, imagine if this was allowed to go unchecked in society, how it would be out here.
Well, it should be the same as you can't.
But it's not.
But you can't drink in public, right? There's areas for it.
You can't drink in public.
And what happens is people start saying, I don't like that behavior. I don't want it by my school. But right now it's by the school. There's a tent and they're all fucking shooting up, getting fucking tweaked out. So what they do is say, now it's legal, but we're going to ask you, don't do this by my children. So there's an area for you to do this. And people can vote. Do we want a bar here? Do we want a heroin? No, we don't. Okay, then. And then all you motherfuckers that want to do it, go over there.
Okay, but right now they're walking in the stores, and I've seen it with my own eyes. They fill up a basket.
Yeah.
These tweakers are they know they can break the law to a certain extent, so they're filling up the thing, they're walking out, not paying for it.
That's wrong, because now they're stealing.
talking crap to the workers. They're like, hey, what are you doing? F you, bitch, what are you gonna do about it? There's individuals that are getting into it with them over it. and then they get in trouble because they're not supposed to, all because they're all tweaked out.
Well, no, it's
Do you
all.
think that these people? No, these are a lot of the people that I've seen